Hi everyone, my name is Derek Huang and I'm the designer of the Gunfighter card game. Today I'll be showing you how to play. So Gunfighter is a two-player game that takes around 15 to 30 minutes to play. In this game, you take on the role of a duelist in the Wild West. Your goal is pretty simple. You just need to land 2 shots on your opponent before they do the same to you. So before we get started, let's go over the components for this game. So each Gunfighter game contains 2 stare-down cards, 2 stat cards, 50 action cards, 6 slider clips, and 1 6-sided die. Gunfighter duels revolve around playing action cards each turn, so let's break down the card layout. At the top of each action card, we have the card name. In the center, we have the card type. There are 5 different card types which are also color-coded for easy sorting. The sides of each action card show the card's dice roll value. The dice roll values are optional and basically allow you to play the game without having a 6-sided die. So instead of rolling the 6-sided die, you can discard one of these cards from the top of the deck and use its dice roll value instead. So for example, that's a 1 and that's a 2. It's not exactly the same as rolling a die, but it can be helpful if you're traveling and don't want to worry about bringing dice or accidentally losing your dice on an airplane. The bottom portion of each action card shows the card's action when the card is played. So whenever you play a card, you'll need to resolve the card's instructions from top to bottom in the specific order that the instructions are written. So for example, on this sabotage card, the first line states your target loses 2 bullets, so you'll resolve that first. Then it says discard this card and draw another, so you'll resolve that second. So now we're going to go over the setup for the game. So first, you'll need to separate the 2 stat cards and the 2 stare down cards from the 50 action cards. The pile of action cards is what we call the deck. So before the game starts, be sure to shuffle the deck thoroughly. Each player then draws 8 cards from the deck. Whenever you draw a card, put it straight into your hand and don't show them to your opponent. So for this example, we'll just use this tabletop as an example from what my hand is. So draw 8 cards. So after drawing your 8 cards, check to make sure that you have at least 1 dodge type card and 1 shoot type card. So this is a dodge type card. They're like the tan colored ones, and it says dodge in the center for the card type. And then we have the shoot type cards that are red, and it says shoot in the middle. If you don't have at least 1 of each type, go ahead and shuffle your 8 cards back into the deck and redraw 8 additional cards. Again, make sure that your new hand contains at least 1 dodge type and 1 shoot type card. So once everyone has 8 cards in their hand, everyone then needs to choose and discard 2 cards from their hand. Make sure that you don't discard your shoot or dodge cards if you only have 1 of each type in your hand. So let's go ahead. You can kind of read over the text and then pick 2 cards that you feel that you can discard. When you're discarding a card, put it face up into a discard pile that's separate from the deck. If the deck ever runs out of cards to draw, you can shuffle the discard pile and use it as the new deck. So now everyone should have 6 cards in their hand, as shown here. Each player then puts a stare down card into their hand and puts a stat card in front of them. So this is one of the stare down cards. And with that being in your hand, you'll also place that stat card in front of you. Each stat card is broken up into 3 sections. Accuracy is on the left, bullets are on the right, and health points are at the bottom. So higher accuracy increases the player's chance of hitting their opponent with a shot. Bullets are needed to fire your weapon. Also, the player with the most bullets gets to use their card actions first. Whenever a player is shot, they lose 1 health point, which is down here. You lose the game if you have no health points left. Everyone gets 3 slider clips and needs to set their clips at 2 accuracy, 2 bullets, and 2 health points. So just like that. The duel is broken up into turns. At the beginning of every turn, each player selects 1 card from their hand and places it face down in front of them. So that can be player 1, that can be player 2. This card can be an action card or the player's stare down card. So the stare down card is special because it can't be taken by your opponent or discarded for any reason. Again, this is what the stare down card looks like. The stare down card is also very useful since it's one of the few ways to actually draw new cards from the deck. Unlike many other card games, you don't automatically draw a card from the deck each turn. So basically the stare down card allows you to gain 2 accuracy or reload 1 bullet, and then you're allowed to discard 1 card and then draw a new card. Once both players' cards are face down, they are then flipped face up at the same time. Each player then resolves their card actions in the specific order that the card's instructions are written. Remember, the player with the most bullets at the start of a turn gets to perform their card's action first. The only exception to this rule is that dodge cards always resolve before shoot cards. If both players have the same amount of bullets, they can both discard a card from the top of the deck. The player that discards a card with the highest dice roll value gets to use their card actions first. Some card actions need you to pay a cost before they can be used. This could be in the form of spending a bullet, such as for the disarm shoot card, or discarding a specific card. These costs are emphasized on the cards that have them. So you can see right here on the left side, there's a little mark, a little bullet symbol that shows that there's a cost associated with that card. If you aren't able to pay the cost of a card, you'll have to end your turn without taking any actions. As an example, this could happen if your opponent plays a card that causes you to lose the rest of your bullets, such as the sabotage card, which then prevents you from spending a bullet to activate your shoot card. As the cards are being resolved, you can use your stat card to track any changes to your accuracy, bullets, or health points. So as a reminder, this is the stat card. So you can move these sliders up and down to track your stats. Whenever you lose or gain stats, your stats can't go past the maximum or minimum values shown on the stat card. If a player plays a shoot type card, they need to roll a 6-sided die. So for instance, if I play this shoot card, this disarm card, and these are my stats, I need to roll that 6-sided die. Or I can use the die roll value by discarding a card from the deck. So let me go ahead and roll a die for this example. If the die's value is less than or equal to the player's current accuracy, which it looks like my accuracy is 4 right now, their shot will hit their opponent. So if I roll a 4 or less, which I rolled a 3, my shot successfully hits my opponent. So that stays true unless the opponent plays a dodge card. So remember, instead of rolling the 6-sided die, you can also just discard a card from the top of the deck and use the dice roll value instead. So if instead of rolling the die, I decide to use the card's die roll value, let's go ahead and use this as the discarded card. So that's a 2. So a 2 is less than or equal to my accuracy, which is 4. So that means my disarm still hits my opponent. Once both players' cards have been resolved, the turn ends. At the end of the turn, any cards that were played are automatically returned to their owner's hands, unless the instructions on the card state otherwise. An easy way to check your hand at the end of the turn is to make sure that you're not holding more than 7 cards at once. Basically, the turns will continue with everyone playing their cards at the same time until a player has no health points left, which then ends the game. Hope this tutorial was helpful. Thank you so much for watching.